What's up, everyone? My name is Blue, and we are back with some more Entitled Parents posts. These parents just don't want to stick to any sort of boundaries. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. And with that, let's get into it. When I was a preteen, my mom gifted me a diary with a tiny lock and keys. I hid the keys, taped them in hidden places, and began using it almost immediately. I was a bookworm and loved reading and writing. I was also quite neglected as a child, so my diary was the only place I could express myself and feel heard. I'd read my last entries, and that allowed me to reflect on my own thoughts and actions and learn from past situations. It was honestly really great for my mental health. For a time, my mood and mental health improved. Time passed. I couldn't tell you how long. Probably a few months. Shortly after I wrote an entry talking about my first wet dream, a few seconds of feet peeking out of bedsheets, nothing truly not safe for work. My mom got furious at me and confronted me, full on screaming. She sat me in the living room as she towered over me, screaming at my face, asking me if I thought this was normal, that I was having depraved thoughts no child my age should have. For a preteen? Really? It was actually perfectly normal. That I had promised no sex before marriage when I was 5 years old, and that this was clearly going against my word, that I was etc., etc. I tried to defend myself at first and protest, not understanding how she even knew about it. But she took out the unlocked diary as proof of my depravity, and my attempts at defending myself, it was just a dream, just fueled her anger more. I sat there silently crying, answering quietly whatever she wanted me to say to whatever she asked, because nothing else would stop her escalation of screaming. I felt betrayed. My locked diary was my only safe place in that home. I was careful with what I wrote in my diary after that incident and set a few tests to check if I was still having my locked diary read without my knowledge or consent. I did this by writing about innocuous incidents in a way that could have sounded like it was more than it was, knowing it would prompt questions out of curiosity. Every time. It didn't take more than 2 days for the questions to come. Turns out, she'd hunt for my diary's keys and read it regularly. Needless to say, I stopped using my diary. My only breathing space had been turned against me. I significantly closed myself off from everyone. I felt if even my diary could betray me, then people even less. It was hard not writing. I no longer had an outlet for emotional or psychological relief. But I really couldn't trust anything anymore. After a week or two without any new entries, Mom asked why I had stopped using my diary. If I had dared, I'd have rolled my eyes and asked, "Why do you think?" But I knew better than to attract attention to myself and simply said I had lost interest in such a thing. Edit. Man, this community is amazing. The amount of support and encouragement is overwhelming and sweet. I really should mention that this was like 20 years ago for those who are concerned. I'm in a really good place now. I put more details in the comments, but I felt I should mention that it's old news here in the main post. That's really messed up. That's some like movie bad guy parent kind of manipulative behavior. Wow. Like, I'm glad our poster is past it, but that's rough. Entitled Stepparent looks through 20-year-old's phone and takes pictures of private messages. I got COVID early January. My mom and stepdad wanted to change phone services, but since I cannot leave the house, the only person who didn't have COVID, my stepdad, took our phones to change services. I admit I was naive for giving him my password and phone. I don't know what exactly he saw on my phone, but there is a picture of my phone with a text conversation that can only be found by scrolling quite a bit. I understand that I can't press charges because I ultimately gave him my password and phone. But I can't stop feeling so uncomfortable, violated, angry, stupid, exposed. I'm not really sure how I feel about this whole situation. Any insight will help. Thanks. Edit. My heart goes out for the individuals who can relate to my story. Thank you for sharing your stories and perspectives. I'm an only child, and growing up, I didn't have friends or people who truly understood the damage of authoritarian parents. So, thank you, Reddit, for making me feel heard and understood. I see you, I hear you, I feel for you. Regarding the COVID issue, when we first found out we were positive, he actually wasn't living in our place. He and my mom were going through some rough patches, so they decided to separate. Just living situations, not the relationship. We have a patio, and so we wore gloves and disinfected the phones before giving it to him. This feels pretty in line with the previous story. Like our poster trusted their stepdad to just take their phone and exchange it. Not take their phone, go through all of their things, and confront them about it. Like that's messed up. Why entitled mother can't babysit one neighbor's autistic son. This is more recent and during lockdown. As before, I have one neighbor with a child with developmental delays, entitled kid, and of course his mother, entitled mother. Now, I had been furloughed for a week when one of my nicer neighbors who has a 14-year-old autistic boy, who I will call NA, is as sweet as pie and loves everyone's pets. He has to hang out at my house. Hell, I paid him to watch mine when my fiancé, R, and I were out of town. NA's mom, NM, is super fun, and we planned stuff to distract NA during this rough time. EM, though, kind of wrecked this, though, because she wanted us to include EK. NA really dislikes EK, and while I enjoy NA, who loves crafts and cooking, EK demands so much attention and has attacked NA on many occasions. NA had to stay with EM due to a distance learning activity, and from what I heard as I was writing, it was pretty upsetting. EM. You are supposed to let EK win. NA is upset and walks out the door, shutting the door. EM. Your mom is at the store. Get back here. NA. No yelling. Practically the only thing I heard until he is frantically knocking on my door. I answer. Me. What is going on? EM, I am trying to work on my novel. NA. You okay? NA. She's yelling at me. Me. Get inside. I will tell your mom you came here. EM. He is supposed to be doing games with EK. He is cheating. Me. Sounds like you're being a bully to me. I was in special ed, and you never yell at children like NA. Or should I yell at you too, like last time? F. Fiancé. Hey, NA. Wanna play Minecraft in our server? EM. You don't even have kids. How dare you tell me how to take care of mine? Me. Funny. You have one kid, and you barely are able to handle him. I close the door and call NM and tell her what happened. Within 10 minutes, EK is knocking on the door. EK. Mom said I can come over. Me. Go home, EK. NA doesn't want you to play your game right now. I am thoroughly aware that since I let NA in, that EM has it in her head I will let EK in. I shut the door and EK starts crying. NA. I don't like your game. F and M are letting me play my games. Bye. NM shows up with EM, telling her how we kidnapped NA and turned him against her and her son. While I explain what happened and how I heard it, NM is a little more concerned about NA, who has the developmental age 11 or 12. He is vocal about what happened and about the game EK wanted to play with him. He had already told F and I. I was about to call Child Protective Services on EM, who looked surprised when we told her what EK attempted to do. Me. Doctor is certainly not watching Doctor Who. Now is it, EM? EM. I am sure there has to be a mistake. EK would never do something like that, and he is mentally 5 years old, and NA should have told me. Me. He tried, but you felt that he was lying. He went to the safest people in the townhouses, F and I, since we've been furloughed. Just imagine what would have happened if we weren't. Honestly, I didn't want to. There was no yelling after that, and NM not only never allowed EM to watch NA, she informed her husband, who decided to work from home, in order to make sure it never happened again. NA was still allowed to come over since his dad had to build a new computer for Minecraft for NA, and he has been playing Roblox with my nephew since May 2020. EM is still banned from babysitting and has since agreed to send EK to therapy. I'm glad that mom isn't going to be allowed to take care of NA anymore. I mean, she definitely wasn't up to the task. She didn't even seem up to the task of dealing with her own kid. And that's all the time we have for these Entitled Parents posts today. If you liked any of the stories, make sure to click that like button. And if you can relate to them, let us know in the comments down below. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe so you don't miss out on any more stories. Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch you later.